Hello everybody and welcome back to the Whiskey Dictionary. Today I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to talk to you about some of the glasses that are in my collection and what those glasses are necessarily meant for and if, in my opinion, they actually fulfill their role. So the first thing I'd like to start off with is a Scotch glass. Now this is meant to look, kind of retro, little 70s. It's got the the little divots in the side here. Other than making you kind of feel a little bit like Don Draper, sitting sipping your whiskey back in the 60s or so, it doesn't really do much for the taste. I would certainly avoid this unless you can get a set of them, and if you've got a study or something like that, and you want to feel a little old-fashioned. But I would avoid it. Next, I've got my Irish whiskey glass. Now, as you can see, this kind of looks a little bit like a mini red wine glass. It's got a stem here for holding. This is actually a pretty great glass. There's only been one video so far that I've talked about on the Whiskey Dictionary where actually holding it in your hand may improve the flavor. Most whiskeys are not like that, so having a stem is a great thing. You wouldn't really want to put, most whiskeys aren't really going to matter, but on something with much more of a delicate taste where the warmth of your hand will literally make it taste different, this may be a good investment. I would recommend getting some of these, maybe a couple of them. It's going to be few and far between when you actually need them. Next, we'll move on. This is a rye glass. So what this is meant to be, other than just kind of a modern look here, it's sharp edges and whatever. It's supposed to give you enough room to make a Manhattan. In my opinion, don't bother with it. If you're going to get a Manhattan, get one of those, the triangle kind of glasses. This is not worth your money. Next, this here is a Canadian whiskey glass. You'll note, as you probably know, Canadian whiskey does not always have the best reputation. It is known for adding artificial flavoring, artificial coloring, all kinds of fun stuff. But because of that, Canadian whiskey is known for its flavor. And also because of that, this particular glass is bowed out in the middle here so that it can breathe a little bit more, similar to how a wine does, decanting a wine. And then it tapers off at the top to allow you to nose the whiskey. This is definitely much more about making the whiskey taste different from, sitting out. So I would recommend getting this glass about as much as I would recommend getting a Canadian whiskey. So if you enjoy Canadian whiskeys, this may help you enjoy it more. Next, you guys have seen this one a few times in some of my videos. This is a bourbon glass. What it's meant to do, as you can see, it kind of tapers in here, but it has a wide top, and the reason for that is to allow you to put ice cubes in a little easier, but also to let the bourbon, kind of allow you to nose it a little bit better. So I wouldn't recommend this. It's not really worth the money, in my opinion. If you're going to bother, most bourbons kind of work well with ice, but if you're going to bother putting ice in something, you're probably not going to be holding it, like this. Otherwise, you're going to warm it up with your hand anyway. So, I don't know. I would recommend not bothering with this unless it comes in a set, which is exactly how I got mine. Next, so this is a monogrammed, just kind of general all-purpose whiskey glass. I actually got this from my now wife for Christmas a few years ago, and I think it's actually pretty good. The reason for that is, you're not going to want to use that for anything of any real import, but for something like, a mixed drink, or, I guess you could do a Jack and Coke in here. I certainly have, although typically I have a Jack and Coke in something about twice as large because I pour them pretty big. Anyway, I've got about 4 of these. They're fun. I'm sure that I've got a little bit of sentimental value in it too because of it being a gift. But I think that they're worth having. Not everybody's going to want to nose whiskey for 20 minutes before having it. And, you know, some people simply just don't care. They're going to want just like a mixed drink, you know, Jack and Coke or whatever you want. Anyway, these are probably worth having in your collection. Next, second to last glass here. This is a kind of an all-purpose nosing whiskey glass. As you can see, it's got a very definitive shape. You know, it's the whiskey will kind of put it in the bottom. It actually even measures pretty much out perfectly for you. And then you can swirl it around, and then it tapers up here and you can nose it. So this is a great kind of glass. You know, it's certainly very cheap. You could probably get about 10 of these or so for, I don't know, 25, 26 bucks. Certainly would be a good way to do a like a whiskey tasting, much cheaper than buying the next glass I'm going to show you, which is the Glencairn Glass. Now you, I'm sure, have seen this glass around. Pretty much any whiskey tasting channel will have this glass as their main glass. If you look, I don't know if this will come out in the video here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. It actually says Glencairn, or the Glencairn Glass down at the bottom there. This glass is awesome. Basically, it's built to nose. Also, it allows really easy swirling. It's got a stem, so you're not going to warm up the whiskey with your hand. And pretty much everything about this glass is made to be a perfect whiskey tasting glass. If you were to buy anything, this would be the one. However, these tend to be a little pricey. I can't remember exactly how much a piece, but I want to say like maybe $6 to $8 a piece. You can usually find them on a deal on Amazon though. So that about does it for all the glasses I have. A few of them are worth it, a few of them aren't. This is the one to get if you're gonna get anything else. You know, possibly get this guy. And in my opinion, having just an all-purpose whiskey glass is going to be worth your time. Thank you for joining me. This has been the Whiskey Dictionary, and I will see you guys next time.